Have you ever wondered what the hell is happening in the eastern half of Europe? Despite mainstream media often depicting Central and Eastern Europe as a cold, grey, colorless hellhole, the reality is more vibrant due to our diverse and bizarre traditions blending Christian and ancient pagan elements. In this video, we will explore the unique cultural practices in the region, revealing their fascinating secrets you cannot find anywhere else. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, hi, I'm Anna and I make documentaries and short videos about random topics related to Central and Eastern Europe because I feel like there's not enough content about it online. So if you're into that, smash that subscribe button. Today we're gonna dive into the weird yet wonderful traditions from Central and Eastern Europe with mixed Christian and pagan origins because this topic offends my Christian American viewers who get triggered by the concept of culture. And I love nothing more than to mess with these people. So stick around to find out some wild stuff nobody told you about before. Now, a quick clarification for those of you who wear shoes inside the house. When I say Central and Eastern Europe, I specifically denote this area, including Central Europe, Eastern Europe, the Baltics, and the Balkans. I avoid labeling the entire region as Eastern Europe because that term oversimplifies their history, reducing them to a 4-decade communist period while neglecting their rich 1000-year past. Of course, it's hard to say where Eastern Europe begins and where it ends, but it's 2024. If it's socially acceptable to identify as a dog, why can't we let a random Czech identify as Central European? And without further ado, let's dissect this topic. Epiphany is celebrated around the 6th day of the New Year in Christian Orthodox countries, marking the baptism of Christ and the revelation of the Holy Trinity. Prominent tradition involves people plunging into icy waters, symbolizing Jesus' baptism. While often viewed as a biblical metaphor, some ethnographers suggest that it may have roots in a pre-Christian ritual assimilated into Christianity. In Romania, the tradition known as Boboteaza was first recorded in Bucharest's Dâmbovița River, with even the royal family partaking. The celebration begins with a church sermon followed by a procession to the water led by the priest. As the priest reads from the Bible and tosses the cross, the water is believed to become holy. Retrieving the cross is a symbolic rush echoing the idea that, like Jesus, the person emerges quickly from the water, having no sins to wash off. The Soviet rejects of the Balkans, aka the Bulgarians, call this celebration Bogojavlenie, meaning manifestation of God, or Jordanovden, meaning the day of Jordan, named after the Jordan River. Retrieving the thrown cross is considered honorable, signifying bravery and bringing health to the swimmer's family home. Unlike the more solemn traditions, this celebration is actually more lively. Drums and bagpipes accompany the ceremony, where people engage in a traditional circle dance, horo in the river. In the country where dreams of Greeks and Bulgarians die, commonly known as North Macedonia, Epiphany is called Vodici. Alongside the customary cross-throwing for year-long blessings, locals share rakia and pacha or pifti, a jelly made from pork or beef meat and bones. During Serbia's Bogojavlenie, customs include greeting with "Christ is here, he is here indeed." Some people preserve the consecrated water in small bottles at home to ward off evil and promote health. Unlike elsewhere, some young ladies also join the swim for the cross. This risky tradition is limited to those 18 and above with a medical report and supervision by emergency services. Before we go further, it's crucial to clarify that interest in a country's culture doesn't equate to political endorsement, and citing ethnographic studies about its tradition doesn't imply support for its government, so calm your titties, Kalina. Despite being openly anti-authoritarian, I faced accusations of spreading Putin propaganda merely for mentioning Russia in a shitpost. So yeah. According to historical records, Russia's Epiphany ice bath dates back to the 16th century and it involves Moscow Tsar's participation. People cut a cross-shaped hole in a frozen lake, immersing themselves thrice for spiritual renewal, symbolically washing away sins. However, the Russian Orthodox Church clarifies that this obviously doesn't erase sins, despite the tradition's symbolic significance. This tradition became quite controversial in Ukraine, firstly due to casualties, and it has faced criticism after ethnographers ethnographers pointed it out as a non-native practice adopted from Russia in the 20th century, which is why the Orthodox Church of Ukraine objects to it. Before the controversy, Ukrainians used to engage in the Epiphany Day cold water bathing for health benefits and sin cleansing. Now, I'm curious what you guys think about Ukrainians denouncing parts of their culture due to their ties to Russia, and should this even be dismissed as a Russian tradition given that it's practiced in most Orthodox countries? Drop a comment with your answer. While primarily an Orthodox tradition, some Catholics also embrace cold water activities. For instance, in Split, Croatia, locals engage in a game of picnicking, a beachside water ball sport, in the icy sea on the first day of the year. The ice bath of Epiphany might seem extreme and possibly dangerous, but as long as it's accompanied by medical supervision and limited to participants in good health, I think it's a brave and beautiful custom, and I'm glad that it re-emerged in recent years, despite being banned for decades under communist rule. Carnival season is the period before Lent, the marking of Jesus' 40-day fast. This takes place in February or March as a final indulgence before the fast, and it's celebrated with rituals of scaring away winter's evil spirits, like dressing up in furry costumes and making loud noises. In Bulgaria's Kukeri festival, masked participants called kukeri move from house to house wearing elaborate costumes and giant bells around their waist to ward off evil spirits and bestow health and fertility on villagers. The term kukeri, possibly derived from Thracian roots, means tall people in masks, but some speculate that it may reference the Greek god Dionysus. The festivities include a mock wedding where a man, playing the bride, becomes pregnant. A participant dressed as a bear symbolizing evil attempts to kidnap the baby, but others intervene. In the Romanian commune of Brănești, near Bucharest, the Ziua Cucilor celebration aims to banish winter and welcome spring. Participants known as cuci go from house to house to perform songs and dances while wearing skirts, large bells, masks, and often carrying whips. Tradition holds that being spanked by a cook ensures a healthy year for the family. Ethnographers propose two theories about the cook's origin: ancient Greek influences linked to purification and the procession of time, or a Roman-era yearly tradition allowing slaves to disguise themselves and whip their masters. Slovenes are known for two things: publicly sneaking a spy into the White House without anyone batting an eye, and their famous festival called Kurentovanje. This event echoes the tradition of young men wearing current costumes with sheepskin bells and horns, visiting nearby villages to bring good luck for the coming year. Sometimes a devil figure accompanied them, playfully stealing sausages from hosts' homes, appropriating Romanian culture. The intricate Curentia costumes, crafted by skilled artisans, are showcased in the Ptui Castle's museum, highlighting the rich cultural heritage of this celebration. In the only country where nurses get arrested for stealing penises and keeping them in pickle jars, known as Croatia, the zvončari or bell ringers are prominent in the carnivals of Primorje-Gorski Kotar County, notably in the Rijeka Carnival and Kastav's Bell Ringer March. Adorned in furry costumes and large bells, they follow a centuries-old route, gathering in village centers. Led by a commandant, they dance in a circle until he blows his whistle. In Hungary, the Búsójárás features men dressed as Búsó in sheepskin coats, bells, and red masks, historically covered in animal blood. Marching with horns and drums, they perform ceremonial dances and scatter ashes in people's courtyards to dispel winter. Its origins are debated. Some link it to Turkish invasions, with locals dressing as demons to frighten the Turks, while others suggest inspiration from Balkan carnival traditions mentioned earlier. Which theory do you find more likely? Drop a comment with your answer. Although this tradition is becoming less of a house-to-house visit and more of a big ethnography festival turned into a tourist attraction, I'm glad that it's still kept alive even today. Before we dive into an even quirkier carnival tradition, I have to mention that I cherish creating videos, and I appreciate all the positive feedback I get from you guys, but juggling a job and health issues makes it challenging since they require research, scripting, recording, editing, and search engine optimization. To boost content frequency, I want to hire a researcher and an editor, but I need financial help to be able to pay them a fair salary. You can help this cause by joining my membership or sending me super thanks, but if you can't contribute financially, no worries. Leaving a comment and sharing my videos goes a long way in supporting the channel because it encourages the YouTube algorithm to promote my content. Thanks for being part of this community. In some countries, the carnival season includes the burning of an effigy, a prominent ritual symbolizing the transition from winter to spring. In East Slavic countries, Maslenica, literally translated as with butter, is also known as Pancake Week, and it serves as a farewell to winter and a fertility rite. According to Ukrainian ethnographers, this was an ancient Slavic celebration which was renamed during the Christian adaptation, as Christians weren't allowed to eat meat during the last week before Lent, so they replaced it with dairy and eggs, which is why pancakes became the official food of this custom. The concluding ceremony involves burning Morena, a doll representing the Slavic goddess of winter and death, signifying nature's rebirth. In some regions, people throw personal items to the fire to rid themselves of winter's accumulated negativity. This day is also known as Forgiveness Sunday, when Russians greet each other with Bo prostit, meaning God will forgive you. But given the events of the last 2 years, I doubt he will. Similarly, in West Slavic countries, the goddess of winter, Morena, is represented by a straw doll, adorned in women's clothes, which is burned or drowned to welcome spring. In this Central European country with Balkan-level corruption and insanity, commonly referred to as Slovakia, this tradition occurs 2 weeks before Easter. Young girls carry the effigy to the riverbank, undress it, set it ablaze, and toss it into the stream while singing. In some regions, instead of this, young men burn a straw effigy of an old man as part of the ritual. In the Czech Republic, there are 3 winter chasing traditions. Kromnice involves burning a special candle, Homničky, dedicated to the dead. The other tradition is drowning Morana before Easter, and if winter still persists, bonfires are set up during Witches' Night in late April. Of course, the most popular one is the burning of Morana, symbolizing the return of the goddess of spring, Vesna, to the fields. In Poland, the goddess of winter, plague, and death, known as Marzanna, or winter's witch, is symbolically killed to ensure an on-time spring and a bountiful harvest per Slavic superstition. Despite efforts by the 15th century Catholic Church to ban this tradition, the burning and drowning of Marzanna endured, as even the Pope's influence proved incapable of quelling the pyromanic tendencies of Slavic children. The size of the doll varies, and while typically performed by children, adults supervise the burning and drowning rituals for safety reasons. The burning of a winter goddess effigy extends beyond Slavic customs into Baltic culture. Poland's Toxic X, Lithuania, concludes the Uzgavenes festival with a woman-shaped dummy named More, the goddess of winter, which is set ablaze in a bonfire. Accompanied by lively costume dancers and musicians, this ritual symbolizes the awakening of life after winter. The festival also features a symbolic duo between Kanapinis, the lean one, and Lashininis, the fat one, with the outcome providing insight into the forthcoming year, prosperous or challenging. Some South Slavs, namely Slovenians and Croatians, do not burn an effigy of the goddess of winter, but replace it with a doll named Pust, who is shamed and blamed for the problems of the previous year, and it is sentenced to death by burning. With that said, should we organize a meet and greet and burn an effigy representing a certain politician with a similar name? The Menaces of Central Romania, the Hungarian-speaking secular community, hosts the Farsang Búcsú, a symbolic farewell to the carnival season. This event features a mock funeral procession mourning a doll named Ies or Döme. Following the doll's fake grieving, it is cast into a bonfire and participants dance and sing around the flames. The festivities continue with a party where people indulge in traditional foods and enjoy a few shots of palinka. These beautiful traditions have been around for centuries, and I'm glad that neither the Christianization process nor the communist banning of tradition were able to extinguish it. The kinkiest tradition comes from Central Europe, involving spanking women with pussy willow and splashing them with water on the second day of Easter on Wet Monday. Its pre-Christian roots are tied to the March equinox, and it symbolizes renewal, celebrating the arrival of spring. In Poland, Śmigus Dingus involves symbolically whacking people's legs and drenching them with cold water to cleanse them of dirt and sin. Girls can avoid a second drenching by bribing the drencher with a decorated egg. The tradition's origins are debated, with some connecting it to the ancient Slavic wandering practices akin to Halloween, while others associated with the baptism of Mieszko, the first ruler of Poland. This has evolved into a nationwide water fight involving people of all ages and genders. In Slovakia, Easter Monday, known as Šivačka and Oblievačka, is celebrated by young men visiting the homes of young women, drenching them with water buckets or spraying them with water guns, and gently whipping them with a braid made from willow branches. Rooted in pagan traditions, this ritual symbolizes transferring the magical powers of the willow tree to women. In return, women adorn the whip with colorful ribbons and treat the men with sweets or drinks. In recent years, women picked up the habit of going on day-long hikes to avoid getting soaked, so I'm curious, would my female viewers participate in this tradition, or would you also go far away from home to avoid it? Drop a comment with your answer. In the Czech Republic, the country that is worldwide famous for their delicious beers and definitely not something else involving online entertainment, the custom of playfully whipping girls dates back to the 14th century, likely with pre-Christian origins. Boys and men used willow branches to whip girls, believed to promote health and youthfulness. In return, girls gift painted eggs, colored ribbons for the whip, sweets, and strong spirits. In Hungary, locsolás or sprinkling possibly originates from the Polish migus dingus. Some connect it to the Bible story about women who were splashed with water for spreading the news of Jesus' resurrection, though I could not find any Bible passages supporting this. On this day, boys dragged girls to fountains, splashing them with water for Easter eggs. The more petty guys used to leave crushed up Easter egg shells under the windows of the girls that they didn't like, so if any of my Romanian girls find egg shells under their windows, now you know it's done by the Gulyás boys. Nowadays, this event is more simplified and it involves spraying perfume on girls while reciting humorous, often even vulgar poems. This tradition has extended beyond Hungary, reaching other regions with Hungarian populations, including Banat and Transylvania. Even some Romanians partake in it, calling it udatul fetelor, which literally translates as watering girls. In ancient Ukrainian tradition, wet Monday's water is believed to have healing powers. Dousing young girls with it is thought to bring luck and marriage, which is why in return, girls give colorful pysanka eggs. This tradition has evolved into a large-scale water fight, particularly organized in Lviv. Truthfully, I'm not a fan of this tradition. Avoiding groups of intoxicated men spraying me with cheap perfume and reciting vulgar poems is among the reasons I moved from my village to the city and why I keep my current address private. While a cemetery might be an unlikely choice for a picnic in Eastern European countries, a comparable event is regarded as a sacred and significant tradition. In the meme factory of Europe, known today as the Republic of Moldova, as well as in Eastern Romania, Paștele Morților or Paștele Blajinilor occurs 8 days after Orthodox Easter. According to folklore, Blajins are mythical beings residing between life and death who are kind and generous but cannot count, so their realization that Easter has passed only occurs when they observe red Easter eggs being thrown out. People commemorate loved ones with a cheerful cemetery feast, lighting candles, praying and serving red Easter eggs, traditional foods like kozonák and koliva, and red wine. Old beliefs suggest that on this day, the souls of the deceased are freed to join the feast, celebrating their lives in a joyous manner. In Russia, the East Slavic version of the Day of the Rejoicing is called Radonitsa, while Ukraine calls it Provodi. Rooted in ancient tradition of visiting graves, this event involves bringing food and drink to feast with the departed loved ones. After Christian conversion, it became an Orthodox tradition, centering prayers on joining Christ in the afterlife. Families celebrate with painted eggs, spiced cookies called prianki, koliva, and sometimes honey and meat poured on graves. Placing painted Easter eggs on gravestones symbolizes Christ's resurrection. Oftentimes, newlywed couples bow before ancestors' gravestones to seek blessings from the dead. Leftover feast items are left for the less fortunate or donated to local food banks. This is especially important for Russians, since on this day they can gather around the graves of their democracy, human rights, and freedom of speech. In Belarus, Radonitsa is the day of commemoration of the departed, marked by a joyful feast to honor the deceased. The Belarusian Orthodox Church discourages cemetery meals, especially alcohol, due to associations with paganism. Many opt for prayer over feasting, expressing reverence for their relatives' souls. Which begs the question, is it wrong to partake in pagan rituals as a Christian? Tell me in the comments below. In Serbia, Zadušnice occur 4 times a year, aligning with each season as a time to honor ancestors. These Sundays are dedicated to the dead, so families visit ancestors' resting places with food, beverages, and candles. After silent prayers, the priest blesses the offerings, and some of them conclude the blessing with a shot of rakia. The gathering transforms into a social event with participants sharing food, chatting, and leaving offerings on the tombstones before departing. Whenever I make make these types of videos, I struggle with finding information about Montenegro, since their citizens are too busy taking day-long naps to post articles about their traditions. The limited information I could find states that in Montenegro, the Monday after Easter, known as Pobusani Ponetnjak, resembles Zadušnica. People visit graveyards, light candles, tidy graves, and the priest offers prayers for the deceased as the family leaves colored Easter eggs on graves or give them to the poor. Some sources also mention Young Sunday, a similar ceremony where women bring Easter eggs to cemeteries. The first painted egg serves as a good luck charm, and it's kept at home to protect the household from stormy weather. If Easter coincides with mourning a loved one, eggs are painted black or left unpainted. I'm not sure how accurate this information is, so if any of my Montenegrin subscribers are awake from their slumber, please leave a comment about these customs. In conclusion, whether you see it as an Orthodox custom or as a pagan one, it is admirable that such a morbid location can be used for a cheerful celebration of life. But do you know what is totally not cheerful? The fact that only 12% of my regular viewers are subscribed to this channel, and I'm losing the battle of overtaking Fidesz in the YouTube game. Subscribe to flex on Orban and share my videos to annoy the Fidesz supporters. Thank you! Midsummer Night, typically celebrated around the summer solstice, encompasses a variety of traditions associated with specific regions and religious practices, marking a festive observance of the summer season. In East Slavic culture, Ivana Kupala is an ancient folk holiday dedicated to the sun and nature's forces, extending gratitude to fire, water, and earth. Initially dated to the 13th century, attempts to ban it by the Christian Church failed, leading to alignment with John the Baptist's birthday. By the beginning of the 20th century, interest in the holiday began to dwindle, but the communist repression revived interest in it because whenever you tell an Eastern European to stop doing something, you will instantly awaken their desire to rebel and do it anyways. The word kupalo means scorching in ancient Slavic, symbolizing the sun. Ukrainian ethnographers say that in old legends, this night was the wedding of Kupala and Marena, who were representations of water and fire, as well as male and female. Belarusian legends depict this night with mermaids bathing in glowing rivers and night witches causing mischief. This holiday is celebrated with rituals symbolizing masculine and feminine elements to ensure productivity, health, and procreation. This is celebrated by floating wildflower wreaths on water, jumping over bonfires, burning symbolic wheels, and honoring the Kupala tree. Traditions like searching for the magical fern flower or bathing with the morning dew add enchantment to this culturally rich celebration. Similarly, the Polish Kupala night is a rare pagan holiday embraced within the Catholic context. This festival celebrates nature, fertility, and joy, symbolizing purification for the soul and body. Young women wear traditional embroidered attire and floral wreaths, with the highlight being the midnight tradition of floating wreaths on water. This enchanting night also involves young men capturing wreaths to predict future marriages and the search for the elusive fern flower, which only blooms at this night and is believed to grant supernatural powers. But nowadays I think it's more common in Poland to look for bobber.
Bobr, kurwa! Ja pierdolę, jakie bydle! Bober!
Similar practices exist outside of the Slavic countries, including the countries of the Baltics. In the country of the world's tallest woman, the shortest night of the year is called Ligo in Latvian, which reflects pagan traditions, while the next day, Yani, marks St. John's Day. Spending the shortest night awake is believed to ensure a vibrant summer, and sleeping before sunrise may lead to a season-long slumber or turn you into a Montenegrin. Latvians light bonfires, make flower wreaths for fortune-telling, jump over fires, and sing traditional songs that focus on fertility and playful teasing. Bathing naked in morning dew after the solstice night is believed to promote health and beauty. Our Nordic forest brothers in Estonia consider St. John's Day or Janipäev during the white nights of summer solstice, marked by minimal darkness, creating dusky rather than dark evenings. This originates from an ancient tradition which marked the beginning of the season for haymaking. Similarly to the Slavic Kupala night, the participants light bonfires, sing, dance, share folktales, gather wildflowers, jump over bonfires, and couples seek fernflower in the forest. Though I've been told that a couple going into the woods to look for fern might actually mean something else. Romanians and our weird little eastern homies, the Moldovans, celebrate Noaptea de Sânziene or Noaptea Sânzienelor, honoring the gentle fairies of the local folklore. Legends say that on this night, the sky gates open to the afterlife, the water gains healing powers, and people understand animal language. Like other cultures, cultures, bonfires blaze on hilltops, girls don flower wreaths, and couples leap over flames. The hunt for the fern flower is organized because people believe that this magical plant can give you the ability to read people's minds and find hidden treasures. Music and dance ward off spirits until midnight when fires extinguish, allowing the otherworldly to return home. On the same day, people also tidy the graves and light candles in the cemeteries. Whenever you Google images of Slavic culture, the results will most likely show pretty girls with flower crowns, but beyond aesthetics, it's crucial to recognize the significance of this celebration. In several Eastern European countries, people have been organizing harvest feasts around the autumn equinox since pre-Christian times. During this celebration, villagers gather in the field, forming a procession to carry some sheaf back to the village. The women would turn it into a wreath or other objects depending on local tradition and offer it to the organizer of the celebration or to the local church. In Poland, the culmination of fieldwork lasting from spring to summer is celebrated as dożynki. The feast centers on two elements. Housewives bake a large loaf of bread symbolizing the earth's bounty, and a rich decorated wreath historically adorned with flowers, fruits, and gingerbread figures. The wreath, often in the shape of a crown, a cap, or an oval, reflects the agricultural celebration. In Ukraine, the ancient ritual of obzinki marks the end of the harvest season, blending spiritual rites with agricultural traditions. Reapers gather in the fields where the village elder, hat in hand, prays for divine strength, a practice later transformed into Christian prayer. A respected woman cuts the first sheaf offered to the master, who shares liquor and food. The sheaf, placed in the home's icon corner, symbolizes a bountiful harvest. The celebration includes dancing, singing, games, and leaving a clump of unreaped grain as an offering to field deities, before they return to their daily activities of stealing Russian tanks with tractors. The Czech dożynki is rooted in historical dependence on harvest for sustenance, which began as thanks to old gods and evolved into Christian prayers. A week prior, girls weave a grain-filled wreath adorned with fruits, pies, and sweets. A selected girl, who according to tradition must be beautiful and talkative, carries the wreath to a farmyard, accompanied by other girls carrying rakes and two couples with straw-decorated clothing. When they arrive to the farmyard, the leader shouts a good luck charm, the gates open, and the farm owners offer money, beverages, and food. Celebrations follow with singing, music, and dancing. While less crucial today, especially because the communist regime used it for propaganda, dożynki persists, with some preserving it as a public folklore event. In Romania, the harvest celebration known as Buzduganul de la Seceriș or Cununa Secerișului involves a chosen host. Villagers gather in the center, then march to the host's fields, singing folk songs. The older generation teaches the youth wreath cutting and sheaf binding, and women create sheaves forming a mace, wreath, or a crown. Returning to the village, two girls carry the mace, while women splash reapers with water, symbolizing prosperity, health, and wealth, which, let's be real, none of us have it in this country. After a feast and folk festivities at the host's house, the event concludes by bringing the mace to the church for communal prayers for a early autumn. To prevent this tradition from fading away, it's crucial to discuss it, especially considering how obscure it has become. Have you heard about it before? Leave me a comment below. In many Central and Eastern European countries, ancient winter traditions honored the sun during the winter solstice by visiting homes to bring luck to families. While these customs have ancient origins, they have evolved into integral aspects of Christian celebrations like Christmas and Epiphany. In most Catholic countries, this practice transformed into straightforward Christmas caroling, while Orthodox countries retain some intriguing customs associated with it. In Belarus, during late December to January, the participants dress in various costumes like goats, horses, and old people, and they traverse the village from east to west to symbolize the sun's path. House to house, they sing traditional songs, play games, and receive treats. The word may trace back to the Latin calende, signifying the first day of the month, or cola, the turning wheel reflecting the year's cycle. The Bulgarian koledovanie is practiced on Christmas Eve, starting at midnight when men, known as koledari, in national costumes visit every house singing carols. Wearing fur furry caps and carrying colorful cudgels, they aim to ward off bad spirits. Hosts express gratitude with ring-shaped buns, meat, flour, beans, and money. Colinde is a Romanian rural custom announcing holidays and banishing evil spirits. The men's group Colindat comprises young men in folk costumes with national colors, sheepskin hats, and ribbons. They visit every house, singing carols and good luck songs for unmarried girls, often accompanied by musicians, and inviting dances from village girls. On Christmas's early morning, children known as first singers traverse the village singing Bună dimineața, furry words like nuts, apples, now replaced by sweets and money.
Bună dimineața la Moș Ajun și mâine cu bine la Moș Crăciun.
According to North Macedonian ethnographers, their Colede tradition has Roman origins, combining the words slaughter and child to recall King Herod's biblical massacre of newborn babies upon finding out about the Messiah's birth, which seems a little bit of a stretch. According to old traditions, on the Holy Night, Christians performed Colede dances commemorating this tragedy. Elders built a symbolic fire representing the sun, and people dispelled evil spirits through song and dance. Today, kids in North Macedonian villages also go caroling from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m., visiting homes to wake up people with songs, receiving rewards like money, fruits, candies, and chocolate. In Serbia, during the Koleda, masked young men in animal and folklore costumes visit village homes from 5 days before Christmas to Epiphany, despite being discouraged by the Serbian Orthodox Church due to its pagan roots. The Koledari get together before the event to prepare costumes of sheep hides, ragged clothes, craft masks, and practice their songs. At midnight, they roam, making noise with bells and shouting. The leader, dressed as a grandpa, is accompanied by characters like a pregnant bride and demon-possessed man. They sing carols, chase away demons, dance kolo, and bless households, receiving specially prepared foods and gifts as rewards. In the contemporary world, where winter often signifies the pressure of purchasing lavish gifts and enduring repeated plays of Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, it's crucial to recognize that Christmas holds a sacred significance not only in the modern Christmas calendar but also in the old age beliefs of our ancestors. As a result of historical isolation and distorted media narratives, Central and Eastern Europe remains largely misunderstood. The aim of my channel is to counter this as I highlight local culture, mythology, and underrated historical figures in an effort to reshape the negative perception of this region. My goal is to reveal the true beauty and value of Central and Eastern Europe, so if you want to support me in my journey, consider subscribing, joining my membership, liking or sharing my video, and leaving me a nice comment. I hope you enjoyed finding out more about our culture and traditions. Thanks for tuning in and have a nice day.